Oh, I think I've just shaved about 10 years off my life trying to get to work.
I wouldn't let me log in now, so just like I now have to put in a guest name because apparently my Microsoft account doesn't exist anymore when there's video.
Oh, mate. Yeah, apologies for that.
All good.
Awful. So, ending up, we're conducting the interview at the original time.
Yep.
After all that. Oh, man. Right. So, do you have a good Halloween?
Didn't do much. I think I've tried to play some spooky games mostly. Just home alone. Just try and get my game time in now that stressful season is over.
Yeah. What kind of games?
I was playing Utiseta, which ended up not being for me because it's like inspired by like the old like dungeon explorer type of games. Turns out I'm already stressed enough without that, so I just decided against it.
Thanks for giving us your time to do this interview. I think that Utiseta is one of my favourite albums of this year, easily. It's
thank you.
Incredible. So obviously I've never heard you before that. So just give us a bit of background on yourself.
So I started doing like mostly metal back in like 2015. I started really getting into songwriting, and I released 2 albums under a previous project.
Yeah.
Then I slightly drifted away from that because of like it's an expensive and difficult genre to produce in if you're doing everything solo. Like some people pull it off really well, but I just couldn't. I shifted away to like melodic doom for an album, and then my equipment all broke, and I was like, okay, well, guess I'm going back to acoustics because that's where I originally started as well. So I wrote this. I just wrote this demo, which ended up being a Lament for the End, and it's the only song on like that album that's like it's not written. It's just purely improvised. And then I started sending that around to like some friends, like, hey, how about this? And it's like you should keep going with this. So that kind of became the like, okay, I'm just gonna try to make the chillest album I can with like zero of the stress and expectations, and just like do this album so I don't have to worry about existing projects or having people expect like, oh, he's gonna do a follow-up album, and that didn't work out very well because then it got like over 1 million views. So it was just meant to be like this nice relaxing album I did, and then it's like got all this attention. Like, okay, well, that's great, but like that's the opposite reason why I started this.
It's always the way of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely typical. Right, so was that the first album you're on about there for Thurnin, or was that something else entirely? So when I looked at your bio, it said that I've Fallen. Was that the metal band you're on about, the Doom?
Yeah, that was the Doom band, and before that there was Algos, which was like more melodic death.
Right, and then so from there you did that song you're on about there. Was that Thurnin, or was that something else?
Sorry, what?
You were on about a song that got 1 million views.
Oh no, that's Men Here. That's the first album.
Right, Men Here. Right, I'm with you. Yeah, with you. So it's first album. Yeah. Right. So that was written. Right. So a question I've got. Obviously, you're well into metal. So I find it really interesting because a lot of people I know anyway, and people that I've interviewed in the past, they come from metal backgrounds, but they end up falling into this folk genre. And why do you think that is? What's your appeal with folk music? Sort of chilled out kind of sound.
I'm getting too old, and that's like a big statement because I'm 33, so like I'm not old by any stretch of the imagination, but I still like doing metal. It's just too much. It's so much work. It's not like I don't want to do the work, but with how difficult it is to sustain like a career or like get any financial gain out of music, to do like a metal album now is going to take me 4 times as long, fulfill me less, and also have like less broader appeal. and it's mostly about the cost and my own pleasure, of course. Where like I will still enjoy writing this, but I can also make this cool thing that like doesn't sound like anything else.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, you know, the 50th Gothenburg sounding melodic death metal album that comes out like this week, and then just so that it's an accumulation of things. And also I like playing acoustic more than metal.
Yeah.
My left hand is not great for picking, so I play poorly. I play upside down.
Oh, you're a lefty, yeah. I like that. I'm also a lefty.
Oh yeah, I'm technically not even a lefty. I don't know how this happened with guitar, but that means that like because I don't do like the micro movements like writing and stuff with this hand, it means like fast picking is just not natural for me. Which like my picking on my right hand will be better. So like if I'm gonna play super technical metal, I felt like that hindered me a lot, and that just ended up frustrating me. So fingerstyle picking is like fine, but that also pushed me to be like, I'm just gonna do the thing like I'm better at, and I feel more comfortable with.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So, well, what kind of artists inspire you then?
It started with like back in the day with Vali, and then Musk Ox.
Oh, you're a big fan of Musk Ox then?
Yeah. That was I think I heard Musk Ox first on Woods 4 from Woods of Ypres.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was them, but I just really liked that specific song. And then Woodfall, I found out, and that was just like on my playlist for so long. And that was actually one of the albums I kept going back to when I was writing, to be like, you don't have to do more and more and more. You can do more with less. Yes. And that was just like a reminder, like, man, I want to do stuff like this. So yeah, having Nathaniel over for like this tour was like amazing, because it's like he's the guy. He's like one of the guys that got me into this. And then you just meet him and you're just like instantly friends. You're like, oh, okay, this is great.
That's cool. So with your Thurnin albums, what was when you were making Men Here, what was the overall goal for it?
I guess it was for me to just unwind. The album I did before this is like deeply personal. It's the Doom album I made, and it was basically me dealing with like some deeply traumatic events as a concept album. And now I feel like this was the aftermath. It was like, I've gone through all this, and now I must find this peace again. And that was the only goal for me. It was like, I need to, like, I needed to make something. It's just like, I think it's not an original answer, because I think every artist has this. We're like,
oh no,
I don't want to do this, but like I feel this drive because it's the one thing I know I'm adequate at. I had that urge of like, I must create something. I don't know what, and this seems like the logical step.
Well, this kind of music as well is very therapeutic as well. So it works well, I think, with if you have made this on something that's from traumatic events. I think it's that kind of style music where it sort of helps you muse and ponder over things, doesn't it?
Yeah, so whenever I see messages or comments from people like, oh, this got me through some tough times, like, okay, great, that's exactly what it's for.
Yeah. So what was your... So you obviously made Men Here, and it was a big success. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you make Men Here, and then so obviously with your second album, what was your approach to that one? What was what made you go, right? Okay, I've done this. Now I'm going to make this second album. What was your approach for it? It's
the dreaded second album, where you're always like, I have to one up myself. So yeah. I had that in mind, for better or worse. I think most people say, well, everyone has said like it's for the better, because it's this whole unique, separate experience.
Yeah,
I think that was on my mind constantly, and I don't remember this commenter's name, and this has this. If this person would ever read this or hear this, he would be like, yes, I had an impact on this. There was a comment on Men Here. It was like, oh, every song sounds like the same emotion. I was like, I'll show you. So like part of it was just also like spite of like I can do better than this. It's not even a comment. I just found it really funny, and I was like, I'm gonna keep this in mind. And then when this album comes out and someone says this again, like, oh, okay, you just can't please everyone. It was just I have to do better than the first album, but I was also fully aware that like, especially on YouTube, it's just not gonna happen. I knew this beforehand. But like, I'm not gonna reach like 1 million in like the 2 years it took Men Here to get to 1 million. It's just a lot of luck and statistics, and
yeah,
I just wanted to make something that made me feel like, right, I've improved, and yeah, I tried.
Well, for me personally, I heard Utiseta first, and then I went back to Men Here after having my mind blown with your sophomore album. But for me, after listening to them both side by side, it feels like, I don't know if it was, well, you kind of have commented on it saying that it kind of was the intention, but it feels like it's like, that's the best way of putting it. For me, I think Men Here it's an okay album. I think it's a decent album, but it's like the second album's just next level, and everything, there's not a stone left unturned with it. It just feels like hidden potential that just exploded. That's the best way I can describe it. So yeah, you basically said it. You set out to refine everything. So yeah, that's the way I see it. I see Utiseta as like, you know, you've basically made your foundation with Men Here, and you've just built on it from there. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and it's always difficult because some people will like the more minimalistic approach, or be like, oh, this is different, and like, yeah, that just comes with the territory of, I cannot do the same album twice. Like, I don't want to. And if now someone says like, okay, do Men Here 2.0, I'd be like, I don't know what that looks like. Yeah.
So obviously, well, this has only just come out. So for your third album, you'll go in a different direction again. Do you think?
I think so. I have 8 songs started.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't like a manic spree of like, I need to write. So I have 8 songs started. And I feel like they're in between both these albums so far, but it's also hard to say because right now it's just a lot of chords and some melodies instead of like having multiple layers of everything. I think it's gonna go in a bit of a darker direction.
Brilliant.
Because that's just the mood, and I feel like I might go in an in-between version of like the complexity of like, it will be a bit more chill maybe, but the thing I liked doing with Utiseta the most compared to Men Here was every song has this build up and then a climax, and Men Here was more like a static line, and I feel like I gotta especially focus on that.
Yeah, one of the main draws for Utiseta for me is you have this incredible knack for, you build the song and then you'll put in so many like Moorish like earworm melodies that just build and build. It's really impressive to listen to.
I had this problem where like sometimes I would show like demos to people, and then they would message me like a few days after, like, I still have this fucking riff in my head, like, yes, perfect.
It is, yeah. It's stuck in your head all the time. Yeah, I mean, since it came out, it's just constantly on. It's
that's awesome.
I have it on during work, and people come in and they're like, "What is this?" Like, they're just like normies. They don't really understand it, and they come in and they're like, "What is this?" I'll just say, "Oh, it's like European folk music," and they're like, "Oh, that is," like, they all say it's absolutely brilliant. So,
oh, that's awesome.
I think you're definitely onto something.
I got my first tattoo done like earlier this year, and the artist was like, "Okay, well, so what do you do?" It's like, "Oh, I have this folk project." So, "Oh, is it on Spotify?" So then he put it on in the tattoo shop. And then this other artist came in like, "Oh my god, what's this?" So now like every time I come in, I have like bring in a CD for artists or something. Like, "Oh yes, I'm so excited." So it's really cool to see like other people as well being like, not people I don't know even be enthusiastic about any of this.
Yeah, it is. You're definitely on something. I mean, listening to Nathaniel's album in July, that's it's a great album. It's like, but it's in contrast to yours. Like, whereas Nathaniel's is very minimalist, and it purposely tries to be minimalist. Yours is like really sort of grand. So when it came to the writing process, so did you get did you hire people to do certain things, or was everything written, composed, arranged by you?
So everything except one bit of flute was written by me, but all the flute was played by Dominique, who's a Canadian flutist. She's amazing, and then I accidentally misspelled her name in the booklet, so I'm sorry. But
did she do the vocal, like the chanting?
No, so that's Linnea, who I met through Canbart, which is this I think Swiss black metal band. So I contacted him and I was like, I really liked her vocals on his album. So she did the Cirrus. Basically, she wrote every vocal melody in that, because I was just like, I'd rather have you have free reign and just do something, because she's clearly very good at what she does. So she wrote that part, and I think there's a flute solo in Halcyon that Dominique wrote. But I did try to write most of the flute, and then was like, if you have ideas, just use them. So she did like some mild variations or something, or like, yeah, just gave it her own spin. But besides that, yeah, it was all, I wrote everything. I ended up doing vocals because I got pushed into it. I'm not a confident singer, but he was like, just do it. Like, okay.
You did a great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
I tried, and now I want to do more with it, but it's so difficult for me to be like, yes, you know what this needs? My voice, it's a it's a weird.
I know what you mean. Well, you did a great job.
Thank you.
So the whole album feels like a dream. It's very, very gazy. It's got like a dreamlike quality to it. So when it came to the production, which I think is really, really stand out, I think that's one of the highlights from the album. The production is, for me, perfect. So what was the recording process like? And did you have a good idea on how you wanted it to sound and feel?
So we wanted, so Menhir sounded a bit muddy, and overall was just like more minimalistic. Menhir was actually recorded with like a USB mic, which was like a lot of work to get sounding okay. So now I invested in like a whole new setup.
Right.
And I got Nimble Cork from Shilma Goknar to get in on production again. Basically, I wanted it to sound like more clear and like heavier. So we used like this mic was used for rhythm, but then we used another mic for like lead guitar. So you have like the contrast naturally without having to mix. It was difficult because I'm not super good at mixing myself. I get it done, but it's not like a thing I either enjoy or I'm knowledgeable about. So I mostly just left it to him, and I was like, right, let's just make this sound as good as possible and make it sound clear and crisp. And then just the investment in like multiple better sounding things, like the cello, it sounds more bassy, so there's like better highs and lows at the same time, which makes the whole album sound more full. It's mostly a thing I just left like for him to do.
Right.
But we did like every step of the way together to be like, oh, is this good? Is this bad? And then, yeah, it came together quite naturally just because of the higher quality recording. And I recorded it with I sprained my thumb, which I tore a part of my thumb tendon. on my fretting hand. So despite that, I recorded the whole thing in like a week.
Bloody hell.
so it was a weird album to record and mix, because we're just like, I'm in all this pain, but I just need to get this out there. And there's some nasty grips in there. I'm like, this hurts, but like, I'll just do it anyway. So it was an interesting process, but yeah, he nailed it. He's excellent at his job.
Right. So was the approach to have this sort of gazy, dreamlike quality?
Yeah, I think we both like there's the little harmonics in Remembrance in the middle, which is like, he sounds like, that was his idea to put like this effect over, because he's like, oh, it sounds like this shooting star. So it's like along the road, all these like small ideas that come up that help, and the intro to Remembrance being like having the backwards riff effect. It's like all these things that just have these dreamlike qualities, because that's both where we like me and Nimblegork are very like dream based as well, and like our ideas. So that made him very pleasant to work with as well.
Right, cool. So to me, this album feels like it feels like an album that's lost in antiquity. It's like feels like it's deeply rooted in like pagan history, and it's just the way I see it anyway. And it feels like you have a lot of like reverence for European Norse mythology and history. It feels like seeps out of the songs. So is that the case? Are you very much into that sort of stuff?
I've been getting more into that. I mean, I have runes on my fingers, which is, it's just my cat's name, but
that's great.
But I thought it was cool. I've always really liked it, and like I've been getting more into bands like Vardruna and Heilung, just because like I really like the vibe, and I tried to do some of that with like the Cirrus, just to show that I'm not more than one emotion, like that YouTube commenter claimed. This is all out of spite. This is an album purely driven by spite. No, it's been more interesting, because even like the tiny bits of drum it has just create this whole new level of tension. So if I can do more with that, and do more with like the Nordic folk instruments, yeah, that's great. For example, I also have some demos which are like in I think like the Egyptian scale, like those type of scales, but it just obviously doesn't work for this. It's just like you end up experimenting. It's like, oh yeah, this fits this vibe, and yeah, the mythology and everything around it is also interesting. I just don't think I'm ever gonna go fully down that route of like, ah yes, I'm now the pagan folk guy. I just like bits of it.
Right. So it's like you said before. Then with album 3, it probably wouldn't have that kind of sort of pagan vibe to it. Do you think? I think I'm going to
try to experiment with it like in a different direction again. Have some weird instruments. Like if I could, I would like definitely add like hurdy-gurdy and stuff like that, because it just sounds really cool. Yeah. I just want to do more and do things which I haven't heard. Yeah. Which is one of the things. And this is going to make me sound like an egomaniac, but like as soon as I finished like mixing or recording a song, I was going to listen to music, and it's like, I wish there was something that sounded like what I'm doing. But I definitely don't want to listen to me, because I've listened to this enough, and also I'm the stereotypical artist, so I hate my music. Yeah. So then it's like, I want to listen to something with this vibe, and it's hard to find, because like you said, like a lot of stuff is just a more minimalistic, and I want something with like the earworm melodies, like you say. Yeah, that's
So I've touched on Norse and European mythology and that sort of history, but as you can see behind me, I'm quite a Tolkien fan. It was Lord of the Rings involvement with it. Lord of the Rings kind of Tolkien sort of, was he kind of in the back of your mind?
That's a good one. I don't think so, but I think, I mean, it's hard to deny, right, how good that soundtrack was as well. So I think just definitely like my main inspirations for writing have surprisingly been like game music and stuff like Chrono Trigger, Zelda, Final Fantasy, all that stuff.
Brilliant.
And Lord of the Rings is of course like an extension to that because it's like a bit more bombastic. Even with like games I would play nowadays like Dark Souls and Elden Ring and stuff like that. I love them. I love the soundtracks, but I can't do anything with that like musically because it's so completely different and more over the top and has a different effect. But then you hear like the music for like The Shire and stuff. It's like, yes, that's like if you've seen that movie, you will remember that song because it's just so specific. So I think in a way, stuff like that is the picking up on this is the kind of thing I like and I want to hear while remaining like the minimalistic, not having 100 people in a orchestra type of vibe.
Yeah. Well, I definitely feel like you succeeded. I find it it's funny mentioning games and things. This album, honestly, it really resonates with me because it hits. Like I listen to a lot of game soundtracks. I listen to a lot of soundtracks, period, but game soundtracks as well. And like you just wrote off a load of games there that are really close to my heart. And you can like specifically like Zelda in particular, like you can hear all that in that album. So it's funny that you bring that up.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I've been trying to push myself to do like more covers and stuff, just like do renditions. Like I have one ready. I have one literally ready to just upload from one of the songs from Skyrim. Because I thought this would be a good fit, and I recorded it. It's like this sounds cool, and then just never uploaded it because the artist curse would be like, I've heard this already. I'm gonna forget that no one else heard this.
That would be cool to hear. That would be cool to hear. When it comes to the artwork, and the artwork is really, same with Men Here, it's really, really distinct and standout. So who does the artwork?
So that's Jack Bailey, and we met through Counter-Strike, like over like 10 years ago. We were we were playing some ranked Counter-Strike, and we ended up being on the same team. And I thought he had a funny voice, so that's how we ended up being friends. He was deliberately speaking like, well, funny enough, like Gimli. So we became friends over that, right. And then found out he did art, and I was like, hey, we should work together. So he now landed a big job doing like art full time as well. So like good on him, he deserves it. And he's always good to work with because I gave him like this really absolutely horrendous sketch of like the album art and the idea, which was just like in MS Paint, and it just like had the sun smiling and be like light go here, dark go there. And then after like a few months, he just sent me this like, yeah, how about this? Like, wow.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, that one's better.
Was that for Men Here, or was that for both of the albums?
No, that were for Utiseta. Men Here, I just literally told him like, you can do whatever.
Oh, right. So does he listen to the music before he draws anything, or is it he just basically just does whatever?
From Men Here, I gave him some demos, and for Utiseta, I think I ended up sending him just the one song. I don't even remember which one, but like he just knows the vibe. And I think he also told me like he was very nitpicky with like the final art because he was like, I don't do a lot of like commission work anymore, and he just wants this to be like his best piece.
Yeah.
So there was like a lot of back and forth of him being like, "Hi, I'm done," and then 10 minutes later, it's like, "Never mind, I got some ideas." That's very relatable. So like I was like, "Okay, take your time."
Do you think you'll use him all the time going forward with your career?
I don't know, and that's not because I don't love his art. It's because he's so busy, and this took him a long time to make, and that's not like me trying to, taint his character, because he's good to work with. He's great, and I just don't want to put that on him. And then if I have deadlines, especially, I don't want to have to like push him to be like, hey, I really need this now and then. I don't think he has the time to do this.
Yeah.
With his job. So if it's up to me, yeah, I would love his art again. But also, there's other artists which have the same dreamy vibe, which I can give a try.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, congratulations on Utiseta. What's next for you
I'm gonna do some different things as well. So I'm now starting on working on something that I don't think I can talk about yet, but it's together with an artist I really love. So that's always cool. And yeah, like I said, I've been writing a lot for a new album already. I'm always trying to get, like, I don't know how to get in this business in the first place, but for the last year, while writing Utiseta, I've been doing a game soundtrack as well, which
for an actual game.
Yeah, it was like a how do you call it? It was like a tabletop RPG, basically, with like browser based. So it was cool to work on, and I got some songs for that done. So that was like 8 songs I wrote alongside Utiseta. And since then, I kind of got the taste of like I want to do more of this. But also, it's just a really hard business to get into. I can't just like, message the developers from, I don't know, Hades or something, like, hey, do you need some weird acoustic folk? And like,
So obviously you got some recorded works in the pipeline. How does it work with touring? Do you tour a lot?
No, I have one gig coming up that I also can't talk about, but we're trying to see if I can get more on that tour specifically. It's hard to get gigs. I have no contacts in this country or like in the genre, and then my most contacts I do have are also people who just like sit at home and record. We're gonna try to fly Nathaniel over again at some point and get like a proper tour going to like at least like the part of Europe that we have access to.
Oh, cool. That's
so that would be cool. I'm trying to get some solo things done, but yeah, it's just hard to get started.
Yeah. So when you were in your original, was it I Fall On? Did you tour a lot with them?
No, I just did the one album, and then kind of disappeared again instantly. I wrote another album for that pretty much, but it's an overwhelming premise because it's a big album, and obviously because of the nature of like the source material for it, it's just a bad place to go to work on that. So I've been trying to have to like measure of like am I in the right mind space to work on this, or just kind of be like, yeah, if I feel like it's gonna make me worse after working on it, I'll just like maybe not now.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, that's pretty much it, mate. Have you got anything else to add that you'd like to say?
Responsibility. No, I don't think so. I've just been working on more stuff, and I think slowly but surely I'm coming to terms that like with what my place is in music like this. Of like, it's a weird spot to be in suddenly, to be like named with. I know, with artists like Vali and Muskox and Olfasong, to be like, oh. So, yeah, I'm trying to not let that go to waste and just like keep working on things. And probably not taking 3 years for another album.
Yeah. When do you think the fall would be?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think if I keep writing like at this pace, I think it's gonna be like maybe I can do an album like every 1.5 or 2 years.
Oh, cool.
I think that would be a decent pace, like if budget and time permits, of course, because life just happens sometimes.
Yeah. Well, like I've already alluded to earlier in the interview, and you've said it as well. Like you're definitely onto something. Like I said, only got into you through this album, but it is really. I'm not trying to embarrass you or anything, but it is genuinely like it's really, really good album.
Thank you.
And I think, you're definitely opening the right doors and getting the right heads turning. So just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a really good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's just like a lot of these things also just like time. I think men here set me up for failure with like how well that did in the first month, and now it's suddenly like, oh yeah, these things take time, instead of just being like 100,000 views in like 3 weeks. So
yeah, like you say, it's one of those things where it all lines in it. The algorithm lines up or it lines up. It's but well, you've got a fan in me anyway. Like I said, I'll be definitely following your works in the future. and hopefully you can get some stuff sorted out where hopefully if into the UK, we'll be able to see you then.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I think I have some contacts there, which should help. It's just Brexit didn't help.
No,
with touring.
It hasn't. No, it's killed a lot of things, isn't it? But thanks for your time, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's good question.
No. All right, man. Well, sorry for the hassle of getting this sorted.
Oh, no problem. It's fine. I had time. So.
Yeah, technology, mate. It's not for me.
back to the old days. I'm gonna go full Amish.
Yeah. All right, man. So thanks a lot.
All right. Have a good one.
Cheers, bud.
All right. Bye.